The massive alien warship hovered silently above Earth's atmosphere, its metallic hull reflecting the pale sunlight. Commander Gray, a battle-hardened veteran of the stellar forces, stood tall on the bridge, his 4 eyes fixed on the blue planet below. "Report on the dominant species," he ordered, his voice carrying the weight of countless successful conquests. Officer Reed, the ship's chief analyst, cleared his throat. "Sir, the species calls themselves humans. They appear to be bipedal creatures with moderate technological advancement." But he hesitated, mandibles clicking nervously. "Speak freely, officer," Gray commanded, turning to face his subordinate. "Sir, our surveillance shows something disturbing. These humans, they keep dangerous beasts in their dwellings. Creatures with sharp teeth, powerful muscles, and predatory instincts. They appear to have domesticated these monsters for some unknown purpose." Gray's antenna twitched with interest. The main screen displayed various images captured by their stealth drones. Humans walking alongside 4-legged creatures of different sizes, some with thick fur, others sleek and muscular. "Enhance Sector 7, Gray ordered. The screen zoomed in on a particular image, a human female jogging with a large black and tan creature. The beast's mouth was open, revealing rows of sharp teeth, and it moved with powerful strides. "According to intercepted communications, they call these creatures dogs," Reed explained. "But our combat analysts believe they're bred for warfare. Look at this footage." The screen shifted to show a human facility filled with these dogs. Some were performing agility exercises, jumping over obstacles, and responding to human commands with military precision. "A training facility," Gray muttered, his experienced eyes narrowing. "They're creating an army of biological weapons." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Humans weren't just another primitive species. They were beast masters, capable of controlling and directing dangerous predators. "Sir," Lieutenant Pike interrupted, "we've detected what appears to be a high-concentration gathering of these creatures in a metropolitan area." The screen shifted again, showing an enclosed area where numerous dogs ran freely, interacting with humans of all ages. To the alien observers, it looked like a staging ground for their beast army. Commander Gray paced the bridge, his military mind racing through scenarios. Traditional conquest strategies wouldn't work here, not with an entire planet of humans commanding these biological weapons. "Update our combat protocols," he ordered. "All ground forces must be equipped with heavy stun weapons. We cannot underestimate these dogs. They could be the humans' first line of defense." As the crew rushed to comply with his orders, Gray studied more footage. He watched as humans attached restraining devices to their beasts, leaving them through crowded areas. "Clever," he thought. "They maintain control through physical restraints." "Sir," Reed called out, his voice shaking. "You need to see this." The screen showed a small human dwelling. Inside, one of the beasts lay on furniture, while tiny human offspring crawled around it. The creature's tail moved back and forth in what the aliens interpreted as a threat display. "They're indoctrinating their young," Gray declared, "teaching them to command these beasts from an early age. This is more serious than we thought." The commander made his decision. They would need to approach this conquest differently. These humans, with their army of trained beasts, couldn't be taken lightly. "Prepare a strike team," he ordered. "We'll start with a small-scale infiltration. Target a single human dwelling and capture one of these dogs for study. We need to understand what we're dealing with." As the bridge crew coordinated the mission, Gray continued watching the surveillance feeds. Each new image of humans interacting with their beasts only reinforced his concern. This would be unlike any conquest he'd led before. "Sir," Pike reported, "strike team is ready. They await your command." Commander Gray straightened his uniform and gave the order that would start their first major operation on Earth: unleash our warriors. Let's see how these human beastmasters respond to a real threat. Little did Commander Gray know, his misinterpretation of humanity's best friends was about to lead to one of the most amusing first contact scenarios in galactic history. The alien strike team materialized in the quiet suburban neighborhood just as the sun was setting. Team leader Smith, chosen for his exceptional combat record, led his 4-member squad toward their target, a modest 2-story house where their sensors had detected one of the humans' battle beasts. "Remember," Smith whispered through their combat network, "these creatures are likely trained to respond to intruders. Maximum caution." The team moved like shadows across the well-maintained lawn, their advanced stealth suits making them nearly invisible. Through the house's windows, they could see soft light and hear what their translators identified as entertainment broadcasts. "Life sign readings," Officer Brown reported, checking his scanner. "1 human adult and 1 large beast in the dwelling." Smith nodded inside his tactical helmet. "Standard breach formation. Stun weapons ready." The team positioned themselves around the back door. Their intelligence suggested this was where humans often kept their beasts. Officer White placed a silence field generator, ensuring their entry wouldn't alert the neighbors. "Breach in 3, 2, 1. The door's lock mechanism surrendered quietly to their advanced tech. The team entered in perfect formation, weapons raised, ready for the savage attack their training had prepared them for. Instead, they found themselves in a kitchen. The smell of recently cooked food lingered in the air. A half-empty water bowl sat in the corner, labeled Max in human script. "Movement detected upstairs," Brown whispered. They moved through the house with practiced precision, noting the strange decorations humans kept. Pictures on walls, soft furniture, and various electronic devices. Everything seemed deceptively peaceful. Then they heard it, the sound of heavy paws on wooden floors. "Contact imminent," Smith warned. "Remember your training." Around the corner came their target, a large German shepherd who had been peacefully napping until the strange sense woke him. Max, still drowsy, tilted his head at the strange visitors in his house. The alien team froze. According to their combat briefings, this was one of the most dangerous variants of Earth's battle beasts. They could see its powerful muscles, sharp teeth, and alert eyes. Then Max did something that sent the alien squad into confusion. He wagged his tail. "Sir," White's voice shook slightly, "the beast is performing some kind of rhythmic threat display with its rear appendage." Max, seeing potential new friends, let his tongue loll out in a friendly dog smile. To the aliens, the display of teeth was clearly a warning sign. "It's sizing us up," Smith decided. "Hold positions." Max, following basic dog logic, decided these new visitors needed a proper greeting. He trotted forward, tail wagging harder. "Evasive maneuvers," Smith ordered. The team scattered, pressing themselves against walls as the battle beast approached. The situation reached peak chaos when Max, now thoroughly excited about this new game, let out a friendly woof. "It's using sonic attacks," Brown screamed, his combat training momentarily forgotten. Upstairs, Max's owner Tom called out sleepily, "Max? Everything okay down there, boy?" The sound of human voice spurred the team into further panic. Max, thinking this was all great fun, started circling the aliens, trying to sniff these interesting new visitors. "The beast is using advanced tactical movements," White reported, voice rising in pitch. "It's cutting off our escape routes." Max, deciding these strange visitors needed more convincing to play with him, dropped into a play bow, front end down, rear in the air, tail wagging furiously. "It's preparing to pounce," Smith announced. "Fall back. Fall back." The team didn't need to be told twice. They scrambled for the door, dignity forgotten, while Max happily chased after them, thinking this was the best game ever. As they rematerialized on their ship, breathing heavily, Smith had to report to Commander Gray about their encounter with the fearsome Earth beast. "Sir," he reported, still shaking slightly, "these creatures are more formidable than we imagined. It showed no fear. It tried to encircle us using advanced tactics. And sir, It was faster than our intel suggested. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Tom finally came downstairs to find Max sitting proudly by the back door, tail still wagging. "What got you all excited, buddy?" Tom asked, scratching behind Max's ears. Max just wagged his tail harder, hoping his new strange-smelling friends would come back to play again soon. In the main observation chamber of the alien warship, Officer Reed frantically compiled his latest intelligence report. Multiple holographic screens floated around him, each displaying different scenes from Earth's surface. His mandibles clicked nervously as Commander Gray entered the room. "Commander, you need to see this." Reed gestured toward the central display. "We've discovered what appears to be a mass training facility for their battle beasts." The screen showed an ordinary dog park on a sunny afternoon. To human eyes, it was a peaceful scene of people and their pets enjoying the day. To the aliens, it was something far more sinister. "Look at this training exercise." Reed pointed to a man throwing a tennis ball. "They're testing the beast's tracking and pursuit capabilities." Commander Gray watched intently as a golden retriever bounded after the ball, brought it back, and waited eagerly for another throw. Impressive response time. They've conditioned them to return to their commanders for further instructions. Another screen showed a woman teaching her puppy basic commands. "This appears to be their early conditioning program," Reed explained. "They start programming these creatures from an extremely young age." "Freeze that image," Gray ordered, his 4 eyes narrowing. The screen paused on the puppy receiving a treat. "They're using some form of chemical reinforcement to ensure loyalty." The surveillance continued, each mundane scene of everyday dog ownership taking on sinister military significance through alien eyes. A dog agility course was interpreted as advanced combat training. A grooming session became preparation for different climate conditions. Even a game of tug-of-war was seen as strength conditioning. "Sir," Reed switched to another feed. "This is most disturbing. They've established these training grounds throughout every major population center." The screen showed multiple dog parks across various cities. Commander Gray paced the room, his military mind racing. They're maintaining a constant state of readiness. But for what? A new feed caught their attention. A pet adoption event at a local shelter. Dozens of dogs in kennels. People walking through, choosing their new companions. "By the stars," Gray whispered. "It's a selection process. They're matching warriors with their battle beasts." Reed zoomed in on a family accepting adoption papers. "They even have a formal assignment ceremony. The bureaucracy behind this is staggering." The commander watched as a little girl hugged her new puppy. "They're starting the bonding process immediately." Efficient. Another screen showed a professional dog training class. To the aliens, the sight of multiple humans and dogs practicing basic obedience looked like a military drill. "Their coordination is remarkable," Gray noted. "Each beast responds to specific vocal and physical commands. They've developed an entire tactical communication system." Reed switched to footage of a dog swimming in a lake, playing fetch with a stick. "They're even conducting aquatic training exercises." The versatility of these creatures is unprecedented. "What about their medical facilities?" Gray asked. The next screen showed a veterinary clinic. "They have dedicated medical centers for maintaining their battle beasts," Reed explained, "complete with recovery areas and specialized treatment protocols." A scene of a dog birthday party appeared next. Dogs wearing party hats, eating special treats, playing with new toys. The aliens watched in stunned silence. "Some kind of moral building ceremony," Gray suggested uncertainly. "Possibly a reward system for successful missions," Reed offered. Commander Gray sat heavily in his command chair, absorbing all this information. Every new piece of data suggested that humanity's relationship with these creatures was far more complex and organized than initially thought. "Revise our threat assessment," he ordered. "These aren't just trained beasts. This is a fully integrated auxiliary force. The level of coordination, the training infrastructure, the medical support, humanity has created something unprecedented." Reed nodded, adding final notes to his report. "Should we proceed with the invasion plans, sir?" Gray watched as a screen showed a man asleep on a couch, his German shepherd loyally guarding him. "No, we need more information. Continue surveillance. I want to understand exactly what we're dealing with before we make any moves." Little did they know, they were observing nothing more than the simple, loving relationship between humans and their canine companions, a concept so foreign to their military mindset that they could only see it through the lens of warfare and training. On Earth, dogs continued being dogs, blissfully unaware that their belly rubs and fetch games were being interpreted as advanced military protocols by nervous aliens above. Commander Gray's anxiety reached new heights as he reviewed the latest intelligence from Earth. The massive display screen on the bridge showed multiple surveillance feeds, each more alarming than the last. "Our intercept teams have discovered something disturbing," Officer Reed reported, pulling up footage of a local animal shelter. "The humans have established what appears to be beast rehabilitation centers." The screen showed rows of kennels, each containing dogs of various sizes and breeds. To the aliens, the sight of shelter volunteers caring for the animals took on an entirely different meaning. "Look at this," Reed zoomed in on a volunteer training a rescued dog basic commands. Their reprogramming captured beasts for their own use. The efficiency is terrifying. Gray watched as a scared dog gradually learned to trust humans again. They can even override previous behavioral protocols. Most impressive. The next feed showed a puppy training class at a pet store. Small dogs of different breeds learning to sit and stay, earning treats for good behavior. Some kind of specialized youth training program, Gray muttered. They're starting combat conditioning at an incredibly young age. Reed switched to footage of a dog grooming salon. "Sir, we've identified what appears to be their maintenance and preparation facilities. They have specialized technicians for each beast type." The sight of dogs being bathed, trimmed, and pampered was interpreted as thorough combat preparation. The poodle getting a fancy haircut became specialized environmental adaptation procedures. But what truly sent the alien command into panic was what they witnessed next. "Commander," Officer Pike called out urgently, "you need to see this immediately." The main screen switched to show a living room where a human infant was interacting with a large dog. The baby was grabbing the patient dog's fur, giggling as the dog gently licked their face. "By the stars," Gray whispered, his 4 eyes widening in horror. "They're using these beasts to train their young. The creatures are serving as combat instructors for infant humans." The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as the baby hugged the dog, and the dog responded by wagging its tail and laying down submissively. "The level of control they have." Reed's voice trailed off. "Even their most dangerous beasts show complete restraint around their youngest." Another feed showed a therapy dog visiting a hospital, bringing comfort to patients. To the aliens, this looked like some kind of advanced psychological warfare training. "They're expanding their program into medical facilities," Gray noted with growing concern. "The integration of these beasts into their society is far more extensive than we imagined." The final straw came when they intercepted footage of a K-9 police unit training exercise. "Combat units," Pike exclaimed. "They've actually integrated these beasts into their official defense forces." Commander Gray had seen enough. He rose from his command chair, his decision made. "This situation has become untenable," he announced. "These humans have achieved something unprecedented. Complete control over predatory species, training them from birth, integrating them into every aspect of their society." He turned to his crew, his voice grave. "If they can do this with these dogs, imagine what other capabilities they might possess. We cannot risk direct confrontation." "Sir," Reed asked hesitantly, "are you suggesting we retreat?" "Tactical withdrawal," Gray corrected, watching a screen where a small child was teaching a puppy to shake hands. "We clearly underestimated this species. Their mastery over these beasts suggests a level of sophistication we hadn't anticipated." As the alien ship prepared to withdraw from Earth orbit, They captured one final image, a family asleep on their couch, their dog protectively curled up at their feet. "Look at that unit cohesion," Gray remarked. "The beast maintains guard duty even during rest periods." The ship's engines hummed to life as they prepared to leave Earth's solar system. Commander Gray would have much to report to High Command about this strange species that had achieved something his own civilization had never even considered, turning fierce predators into loyal companions. Meanwhile, on Earth, millions of dogs continued their actual jobs, being humanity's best friends, completely unaware that they had just helped prevent an alien invasion simply by being themselves. The grand meeting hall of the International Space Center buzzed with nervous energy. After weeks of negotiation following the aliens' revealed presence, the first official diplomatic meeting between humans and the alien civilization was about to begin. Ambassador Tom Wilson stood calmly at the entrance, dressed in his finest diplomatic attire. Beside him sat Bear, his trained therapy golden retriever, wearing an official service dog vest. The ambassador had insisted on bringing Bear, despite his staff's concerns about the aliens' apparent misconceptions about Earth's canines. "Remember what we discussed," Tom whispered to his security team. "If they panic, remain calm. Bear is our secret diplomatic weapon." The alien delegation arrived with much ceremony. Commander Gray led them, flanked by Officers Reed and Pike. Their formal attire sparkled with metallic decorations, but their attention immediately fixed on Bear. They brought a battle beast to peace talks. Reed whispered urgently to Gray. "This must be some show of force." Gray raised all four hands in their culture's calming gesture. "Stay composed. They're demonstrating their power. We must not show fear." Ambassador Wilson stepped forward, Bear sitting perfectly at his side. "Commander Gray, on behalf of Earth, welcome to the International Space Center." The alien translator hummed, converting his words. Gray's antenna twitched nervously as he responded, keeping one eye on Bear. "We accept Earth's invitation for diplomatic discourse," Gray said formally, then added, "though we note your tactical choice of companion." Tom smiled warmly. "Ah, yes, this is Bear, my therapy dog. He helps create a calming atmosphere during tense negotiations." The aliens exchanged confused looks as the translator worked. "Therapy, beast?" Reed questioned. "You use them for psychological warfare?" No, Tom chuckled, kneeling beside Bear. "Here, let me demonstrate." Bear, gentle. The golden retriever's tail wagged as he offered his paw to the aliens. The alien delegation collectively took a step back. "The beast offers its striking appendage," Pike warned. "Possible attack stance." Tom sighed. "Commander Gray, with your permission, I'd like to show you something that might help clear up some misconceptions about our canine friends." Gray nodded cautiously, his military training warring with diplomatic necessity. Tom guided Bear through some basic behaviors, sitting, lying down, rolling over. With each command, the alien delegation's posture shifted from terror to confusion to cautious curiosity. "You see," Tom explained, "dogs aren't weapons. They're companions, partners. They help us by offering friendship, emotional support, and yes, sometimes assistance with tasks. But their primary role is as our friends." Bear, sensing the alien's nervousness, did what therapy dogs do best. He slowly approached Commander Gray, tail wagging gently, and sat politely nearby, offering his most gentle, friendly expression. Gray stood frozen, all four eyes fixed on the dog. "It's not attempting to establish dominance." "No," Tom smiled. "He's trying to make friends. Would you like to pet him?" The entire human delegation held their breath as Commander Gray, veteran of countless space battles, slowly extended one hand toward Bear's head. Bear responded with a gentle lick to Gray's hand, causing the alien commander to jump slightly. But then, something remarkable happened. Gray's antenna relaxed, and his posture softened. "It's soft," he noted with surprise, "and its biosignatures indicate Happiness. That's right, Tom confirmed. This is what dogs really are. Not weapons, not war beasts. Just friends who want to make everyone around them happy. The tension in the room dissolved as Bear worked his canine magic. Other alien delegates cautiously approached, each taking turns experiencing their first positive interaction with a dog. Perhaps, Gray admitted, now scratching behind Bear's ears, we may have misinterpreted some things about your species. Tom nodded diplomatically. Common ground can sometimes be found in unexpected places, Commander. Shall we begin our official talks? As the delegates took their seats, Bear settled comfortably under the conference table, occasionally offering a paw or a friendly nuzzle to both human and alien participants. The first interstellar peace treaty would later be remembered not for its complex political negotiations, but for the golden retriever who helped bridge the gap between two species by simply being a good dog. 2 weeks into their official scientific exchange program, the alien research team found themselves completely revising everything they thought they knew about Earth's canines. Their state-of-the-art laboratory, set up in a quiet corner of a major veterinary research center, buzzed with activity as they studied what they now called the dog phenomenon. Professor Green, the alien team's lead scientist, bent over his instruments, carefully measuring the brain waves of a sleeping Labrador. His assistant, Tech Officer Hill, recorded the data while occasionally glancing nervously at their subject. Fascinating, Green muttered, his antenna twitching with excitement. Their brains show patterns indicating complex emotional processing, far beyond simple combat responses. Nearby, Dr. Jack Moore, the human veterinarian assigned to the project, tried to hide his amusement. Would you like to see something really interesting? He asked, pulling out a tennis ball. The Labrador's eyes snapped open at the sight of the ball, tail immediately wagging. The alien scientists jumped back, still not entirely comfortable with sudden dog movements. Observe the readings now, Dr. Moore suggested as he tossed the ball across the room. The aliens watched in amazement as their instruments recorded the dog's pure joy during the simple game of fetch. Their previous military interpretations of this activity seemed almost laughable now. The pleasure centers in their brains, Green noted, they're lighting up like a stellar nursery. All this from chasing a small sphere. Dogs find joy in the simplest things, Dr. Moore explained, now rubbing the lab's belly. That's part of what makes them such wonderful companions. The next phase of their research focused on the historical aspect of dog domestication. The alien scientists were stunned to learn that humans hadn't conquered dogs at all. The two species had evolved together over thousands of years. You mean? Tech Officer Hill asked incredulously. They chose to stay with humans, without force, without behavioral modification chips. Just love and trust, Dr. Moore confirmed, showing them ancient cave paintings depicting humans hunting alongside dogs. Both species found that life was better together. The breakthrough in alien understanding came during an unexpected incident. As Professor Green was reviewing his notes, a small mouse darted across the laboratory floor. Before anyone could react, their Labrador subject calmly caught the mouse, carried it gently to Dr. Moore, and set it down unharmed. Remarkable restraint, Green exclaimed. A predator species choosing not to harm smaller prey, instead bringing it to their human companion. That's right, Dr. Moore praised both dog and scientist. They've evolved to work with us, not just for us. It's a partnership. The research team expanded their studies to different breeds, amazed by the variety of traits humans had helped develop. They studied herding dogs moving sheep with precision, rescue dogs finding hidden volunteers, and therapy dogs calming anxious patients. Each specialized variant, Green noted in his report, developed not for warfare, but for cooperation. The implications for evolutionary theory are staggering. Their most profound discovery came while studying the simple act of a dog greeting their human after a long day. The biological readings showed synchronized changes in both species, lowered stress hormones, increased positive neurotransmitters, matched heart rates. They've achieved interspecies empathy, Green announced to his team. Not through technology or force, but through mutual trust and affection. Our entire civilization never considered such a possibility. As their research concluded, the alien scientists found themselves transformed by their understanding. Green even found himself sitting on the floor, playing tug-of-war with their Labrador friend, his previous fear completely forgotten. "Do you know what this means?" he asked Dr. Moore, watching the dog perform tricks for treats. "We must completely revise our understanding of strength. We saw your relationship with dogs as proof of human dominance, but it's actually evidence of something far more powerful, the capacity for different species to form genuine bonds." Dr. Moore nodded, scratching the lab's ears. Sometimes the strongest connections aren't forged through force at all, but through friendship. The alien research team's final report to their high command would change their civilization's approach to interspecies relationships forever. And it all started because they had misinterpreted a wagging tail. In the lab, as the day's work concluded, no one could miss the irony that humanity's best friends had once again proved themselves to be outstanding ambassadors, simply by being dogs. Commander Gray stood nervously in the Earth pet shop, his new position as permanent ambassador to Earth, requiring him to understand human culture more deeply. What he never expected was to find himself here, considering what humans called pet adoption. Perhaps something less intimidating. He asked the shop owner, Mrs. Baker, as she showed him another large dog. After his experiences, Gray felt ready for a smaller first step into pet ownership. "I think I know just the one," Mrs. Baker smiled, leading him to a small enclosure. Inside sat a tiny Chihuahua, barely larger than Gray's hand, wearing a tiny pink sweater. "This is Princess," she explained. "She's 3 years old and very gentle." Gray stared in fascination at the miniature dog. His military training tried to assess it as a threat, but failed completely. Princess looked up at him with large, bright eyes and wagged her tail. "This is a dog?" he asked incredulously. "The same species as those larger variants?" Mrs. Baker nodded, opening the enclosure. Princess immediately trotted over to Gray, sniffing his alien boots with interest. "Would you like to hold her?" Gray's antenna twitched nervously, but he carefully picked up the tiny dog. Princess immediately snuggled into his arms and licked his hand. "The beast shows no fear," he marveled. "And it's generating a pleasing vibration. That's called trembling." Mrs. Baker laughed. "Chihuahuas do that sometimes. She likes you." Over the next hour, Mrs. Baker taught Gray the basics of dog care. His 4 eyes widened as she explained everything from feeding schedules to walking routines. He took detailed notes on his alien tablet, treating it with the same seriousness as a military briefing. "And these toys," he gestured to a squeaky bone. "They serve as training tools." "No, they're just for fun," Mrs. Baker explained. "Dogs need play and entertainment, just like we do." The concept of fun was still somewhat new to Gray, but watching Princess chase a small ball around the shop helped him understand. The adoption process itself amused the shop staff immensely. Gray insisted on documenting everything with military precision, creating detailed charts for feeding times and walking routes. He even drew up a tactical map of his apartment, marking optimal locations for Princess's bed and food bowls. "Sir," his aide, Officer Reed, protested when Gray announced his decision. "Is this appropriate for someone of your rank?" Gray watched as Princess curled up in his lap, already claiming him as her own. "Officer Reed, after all our research, don't you think having a first-hand understanding of human-canine bonds would be diplomatically valuable?" Reed couldn't argue with that logic, though he struggled to maintain his professional composure when Princess started giving him kisses too. The following weeks transformed the once stern military commander. His diplomatic reports began including updates about Princess's progress. High Command was puzzled by mentions of successful toy retrieval exercises and advances in treat-based negotiations. Gray's apartment, once Spartanly military in its organization, now featured tiny dog beds in every room and an impressive collection of miniature sweaters. Princess accompanied him to diplomatic functions, charming both humans and aliens with her tiny size and huge personality. The biggest surprise came during an important diplomatic ceremony. As Gray delivered a serious speech about interstellar cooperation, Princess sat proudly on the podium beside him, wearing a specially made diplomatic uniform that matched his own. "And so," he concluded, reaching down to scratch Princess's ears, "we learn that strength comes in all sizes, and true power lies not in dominance, but in understanding." The speech marked a turning point in alien-human relations, though many noted that the thunderous applause seemed to be as much for Princess's tiny uniform as for Gray's words. Back in his apartment that evening, Gray sat in his favorite chair, Princess dozing in his lap. His daily report to High Command lay half-finished on his desk, the latest entry reading: "Further evidence suggests that human claims about dogs being best friends may be entirely accurate. Additional research ongoing." As Princess stretched and yawned in her sleep, Gray realized that his greatest diplomatic achievement hadn't come from complex negotiations or cultural studies. It had come from learning to love a tiny, trembling dog who had shown him that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is open your heart to something new. The fearsome alien commander who once saw dogs as weapons of war now couldn't imagine life without his little princess, and that perhaps was the greatest victory of all.